Story 1, The Watcher in Lane 6, submitted by Natalie. I used to love swimming. Morning practices before school, weekends at swim meets, you name it. For me, swimming wasn't just a sport, it was a form of escape. But there's an experience that kind of spoiled it for me. I don't really talk about it often. It happened at our local community pool. It wasn't the newest or fanciest, but it had an Olympic-sized pool, which was heaven for someone like me. It was my second home, a place I knew like the back of my hand, or so I thought. This particular night was different. I usually swam in the mornings or afternoons, but I had a busy day, so there I was, suited up and ready to dive in at 8:45 p.m. The pool closed at 9:30, but I figured I'd get some solid laps before then. The lifeguards were cool with me. They knew I was on the high school swim team and I took it seriously. They would usually let me wrap up even if it was a bit past closing time. But tonight, there was a new lifeguard. He looked normal enough, tall, athletic, clean cut, but he had a vibe, like he was kinda hyper aware of everything, a bit intense, you know. He was scanning the pool as if expecting something to jump out of the water. So I dive in and I start doing my laps. Freestyle first, you know, to warm up, then some breaststrokes, and then on to the backstroke. The pool is dimly lit, which I find relaxing, and the water is pretty much perfect. I'm in the zone, focused on my technique and counting my laps. About 15 minutes in, I notice something weird. You know when you're swimming and someone enters the lane next to you, there's a change in the water current, right? You feel the drag in the pool. So yeah, I felt that. Problem is, I'm pretty sure I was alone in the pool. I stop and look. The new lifeguard is still there, just watching me from his chair, but nobody else is around. I do a quick scan of all the lanes from 1 to 8. Empty. I shake my head, thinking it's probably just me overthinking things, and I get back to it. But then, while mid-lap, I feel it again. The drag, the pull, but this time it's stronger. I turn my head for a split second. I swear I see a shadow in lane 6, like someone was swimming right next to me, but slightly behind. It's as if they were matching my speed, mimicking my strokes. I'm not going to lie, it freaks me out. So I stopped immediately, standing up in the shallow end and looking at lane 6. Nothing. Just calm water and as still as it could be. I look up at the lifeguard and the dude is staring right at me. Not just casually glancing, but full on staring with a blank expression. No nod, no smile, just staring. Now I'm a rational person. I don't jump to conclusions or let my imagination run wild. But something's not right. For the first time ever, I'm actually feeling nervous in the pool. I decided it was time to get out. I climbed the ladder and quickly grabbed my towel. As I'm drying off, I can't help but glance back at the water. It's smooth like glass. But then, right there in lane 6, I see ripples. They start small, and then they grow as if someone or something just got out of the water. I turn to the lifeguard, but he's not there. His chair is empty, and that's when I decide I've had enough. I pack my stuff and practically run out of there, not even bothering to shower. The next day, I found out the new lifeguard quit, just like that. No notice, no explanation, nothing. I also found out I'm not the only one who's been having weird experiences late at the pool. A couple of other swimmers mentioned feeling watched or sensing an odd presence. Story 2, Submerged Secrets, submitted by Leela. I've been swimming since I was a kid. Water is like my second home. But let me tell you about the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. It's not the type of story you tell for a cheap scare or a laugh. It's strange, unsettling really, and I've never been able to explain it. This happened a couple years ago. During the winter season, I used to swim at this indoor pool about 20 minutes from my place. It's one of those large community centers that has it all. Gym, basketball courts, a pool, you name it. I liked going at night when there were fewer people around, fewer kids splashing water everywhere. On this particular night, I was the last one in the pool. It was just after 9 p.m., and the lifeguard was getting ready to close up. The pool was divided into 2 lanes. I was doing some laps in the far right lane. It wasn't anything out of the ordinary. That was until I got to the deep end and felt it. This weird pressure change around me, like I just entered a different room. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Probably the air conditioning or a vent or something, right? But no, this felt more localized, like it was only happening in my lane. I stopped swimming and looked around, treading water for a moment. Everything seemed normal. The lights were on. No strange sounds or anything. The lifeguard was folding up towels, not paying much attention to me. I decided to finish my last lap, but as I was swimming back, right in the middle of the lane, I felt a hand grab my ankle, and I'm not talking about a light brush or a sensation that could be confused for a wave. This was a firm grip, like someone wanted to yank me down. I freaked out and kicked instinctively, hitting nothing but water. I spun around, expecting to see a prankster or someone messing around. There was nobody. The pool was empty, and the lifeguard was now staring at me, obviously wondering if I was losing it. I quickly swam to the edge and pulled myself out of the pool, my skin feeling colder than it should have, considering I was just in a heated pool. I didn't say anything to the lifeguard. What could I say that wouldn't make me sound crazy? I just grabbed my towel and got the hell out of there, faster than I'd like to admit. Once I was in the changing room, I examined my ankle. There was no mark, no sign that anything had touched it. I had sat there for a minute, replaying the incident over and over in my mind. I was certain of what I'd felt, as real as anything I had ever experienced. But there was just no logical explanation for it. I've been back to the pool since then, even swam in the same lane. Nothing weird has happened, but I can't forget that night. Now, whenever I swim, especially when I'm alone, I can't help but think about that unseen lane where something reached out and touched me. Story 3, The Kid Who Watched, submitted by Paulo. This story happened when I was about 10 years old. I was a decent swimmer, not Olympic level or anything, but I could hold my own in the water. My mom would drop me off at the local pool almost every Saturday while she ran her errands. It was cool. I enjoyed it. That day was different. Like different in a way that sticks with you. When you're 10, you don't really notice things, but that day I did. The pool was pretty packed, which wasn't unusual for a hot summer day. I saw some familiar faces, school friends and such, but I didn't hang out with them. I was more interested in doing cannonballs off the diving board or pretending I was a shark or something. After some time, I got tired and I noticed the pool kind of emptied out a bit. It was weird because usually it stays packed until closing time, but whatever, less crowd, more fun for me. So I'm floating around in the shallow end, just messing around, blowing bubbles and stuff, when I see this kid at the other end of the pool. He's alone, not doing much, just standing there in the water, watching me. Now I've seen this kid around, but we never spoken or anything. Dark hair, glasses, kind of quiet. No big deal. I'd seen him reading by the pool before, which I thought was weird because who goes to the pool to read? But hey, to each his own, right? So I wave, thinking he'd wave back or swim over or whatever. He doesn't wave back, but he starts moving through the water toward me, slowly. I mean, so slow it's kinda off. Like, who swims that slow? But he's coming over, and I figured we'll hang out. Maybe play Marco Polo or something. Except, he stops about halfway and just stands there. Now he's chest deep in water, and he's staring at me, like actually staring. That's when I start to get a little weirded out. So I try to act normal, swim around a bit, and act like I didn't notice how weird the situation had gotten. After a few minutes, I look up, and he's gone. Just like that. I'm not talking about turn around and walked away gone. I mean, I looked around the whole pool, and he wasn't there. The kid vanished. Checked near the lifeguard chairs, checked the diving board, checked the locker room when I got out later. Nowhere. I thought about asking someone if they had seen him leave, but it felt too strange to bring it up. Plus, the lifeguards were too busy chatting with each other as usual. The rest of the day felt off, like waiting for a storm that never comes. Every splash made me jump a little. Every laugh sounded just a bit too loud. I didn't say anything to my mom when she picked me up. Didn't mention it to my friends. But it stuck with me. I went back to the pool next weekend. I saw the same kid in the same exact spot he was last time, doing the same thing, just standing there, watching. But this time, there was no way I was sticking around to see what happens. I climbed out of the pool, got my stuff, and told my mom we had to go. I gave her some excuse about feeling sick, and we left.